What is going on, guys? Broken Eyes coming at you today with a Vendread / Shiranui deck profile. This is, I don't know if it's much anticipated, but definitely one of you guys in the comments and stuff for the last couple of videos has asked for the Vendread update, and this is it. As you can see in the new set, we got a Vendread Savior, which makes the deck a lot better, as well as the last time I did this was a pure build, but I've been playing it, testing it a good bit, and the way I really like to play it is with obviously the Shiranui style, because you get to add synchros and stuff, and synchros and rituals. It's just really fun. So without further ado, let's get into deck profile. Before I do start, I just wanted to say I'm going to put my eBay down in the description. If you see any cards you like or anything, let me know. I'll put them up or something, and see any of the openings and stuff. Other than that, check out stuff there, and I don't know, give me your best offers and stuff. Most of the cards I put up, the cheaper cards are kind of gone, and all that's left is like the expensive sought after cards, like the Black Cluster Soldier that we got in one of the openings of the Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. So first off, we're going to start with 3 Vendread Slayer. He's spawn basically. So the way the Vendreads, Vendreads and the Vendreads work, they both have 2 effects. So this is a ritual monster, and his first effect is when he's on the field, you can banish a zombie type monster from the graveyard, and he gains 300 attack and defense, and that 300 stays. And then his other effect is if he's sent to the graveyard, he gets to search a ritual spell. So he's not too bad. Then for the next guy, we have Vendread Battlelord, who's just a little bit bigger. He's 1 level higher, and he's a kind of a similar effect. He gets to banish a zombie type monster from the graveyard, or a Vendread card from the graveyard, and then he gets to declare 1 type, monster, spell, or trap, and for the rest of the turn, your opponent can activate card effects of that type. And then he has the opposite to Vendread Slayer. When he is sent to the graveyard, he searches a ritual monster, so he can search off your Vendread Slayer like that if you do end up doing it. And his artwork is pretty cool. These are all the Vendread rituals we run. I don't feel the need to run the big one or anything, and it seems to be working out a good bit. So for then the main deck, kind of smaller monsters, we have 1 Vendread Revenants. He's a level 4, and like the same Vendreads, they both have 2 effects. One, the first effect is if this card is destroyed by an opponent by battle or card effect, you can special summon them, but it has to be by your opponent. So they all have a special summon effect from the graveyard. And the second effect, then, if they're tributed for a ritual summon, it gives Vendread Slayer or Vendread Battlelord additional effects. So the additional effect for him would be once per turn quick effect, you can target a special monster your opponent controls and banish it. So they get the extra effect. The next one is 1 Vendread Hound Horde, and he's probably one of the better ones, only because if he's sent to the graveyard, it doesn't have to be by your opponent. You get to discard a Vendread card in your hand and then special summon them. They all get banished after they get special summoned that one time. And then his other effect is similar to Revenant, except for he gets rid of a spell or trap card and banishes it instead, so that's not too bad as well. And then we have 1 Vendread Sturges. So this one, if it's sent to the graveyard, you can reveal a Vendread and special summon him. And then his effect, if he is tributed for the ritual summon, is after damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can draw a card, discard a card, so not too bad. This one here is a cool one as well. This is Vendread Core, and this one, all it has to do is sent to the graveyard, and you can banish another zombie type monster from the graveyard and special summon him. So this one kind of works a lot better as well, because you might just send this to the graveyard just to banish some of your Shiranui stuff and get some extra effects off it. And then he has the second effect that your opponent cannot target a card with card effects by the ritual monster when it does get. The next, we have Vendread Anima, which is he kind of different than the rest of them. This one, you can banish this card from the graveyard and target one of your banished Vendread monsters and then special summon it. And then it locks you into zombies, but the whole deck is zombies anyway. And then its ritual effect is banish any monster destroyed by battle with this card, so any of the ritual monsters destroyed by card. So that's it for the Vendread engine. That's all we're running, 1 of each of the small Vendreads, and then the only one we run 3 of is the Vendread Slayer, because it is one of the best. It can be search of pre-preparation rights, and it's very easy to get out. So next we're going to go into the Shiranui engine. So I think a staple in most zombie decks is Shiranui Solitaire. And what this one does is searches out all of your tuner monsters in the deck. So literally, I think you're running like 3 or 4 tuner monsters, and it searches out each and every one because it's to basically tribute himself or another zombie type monster and special one zombie tuner with 0 defense, which is what they all have, which is kind of cool. And then if he's managed, you can target a Shiranui monster, and special summon when you're banished Shiranui monster. You can special summon it. So that's what that does. The next one we have is Shiranui Swordmaster, which is another really good one. So if this card is normal summon, you can special summon Shiranui monster from your hand or graveyard, and then if it's banished, you get to destroy a card your opponent controls, which is pretty nice. Next we have 2 Shiranui Squire. This one came out in the this set, Savage Strike set, and it's actually a good card. There's a bit of a shine there, sorry, but yeah. So this one is, if it's normal summon, you get special summon a Shiranui Spectral Sword monster from your hand or deck. So it searches out, and it's like a free level 7 or level 6, which is really nice. And then if it's banished, you get to discard a card and draw a card, or draw a card and discard a card. And the cards they're going to be searching is 1 Shiranui Spectral Sword Shade as a tongue twister. And you contribute this card and then target 2 of your banished zombie type monsters except Shiranui Spectral Sword, including a Shiranui monster, and special summon them with defense vision. So it's really good late game. If you use Shiranui Squire and you don't want to use it for synchro summon, you just want to special summon some of your banished stuff, it's really good that way. That's what that one does. The next one and the last one we have a Shiranui Spectral Sword. So what this one does is, if this card is in your graveyard except the turn of a center, you can banish him. Just so you can banish Shiranui Squire and Spectral Sword from the graveyard, banish the 2 of them, and then you can count that as a synchro summon, so you get a free synchro summon, basically. Just do the levels and all that kind of stuff. So it's a really good card that way. So you want these 2 are really good in the graveyard as well, I suppose. All zombie type of monsters in this deck kind of good in the graveyard. And next we have kind of a general zombie engine, which I think everybody could have guessed. We have 3 Uni Zombie, who is by far one of the best zombie monsters in the game at the minute. Excuse me. And what this does is basically you can target face a monster on the field, discard 1 card, and then you can increase the targets. You can increase the monster by 1, or you can send a zombie type monster from the deck and increase the card's level by 1. So if you search it with Shiranui Spectral Sword or Shiranui Solitaire, you can summon Uni Zombie, and then you can send the next card, which is Mizuki. And then you can banish Mizuki from the graveyard by its own effect, and special summon back the Solitaire, and go for level 8 synchro very, very easily. The next card we have is 1 Gozuki, which is basically like a Foolish Burial for zombie type monsters. If during the main phase, you can send 1 zombie type monster from your deck to the graveyard. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you can banish 1 zombie type monster from your graveyard except Gozuki, and special 1 zombie type monster from your hand. It's not too bad. And then we have Shinobi Necro, which is also searchable with the Solitaire. And what this card does is actually I only use it for the banish effect. So when it's banished, it actually special summon itself, which is kind of cool. If you do banish it off other stuff with like even the ritual monster or anything like that, it just special summons itself and you have a level 2 tuner, which is kind of nice. And the last zombie we are playing is our Hand Trap, which is 3 Ash Blossom. And that's it for the monsters. Pretty heavy base monster count, but this deck is very monster heavy, and it's very combo based kind of deck. So the only kind of stopping power I'm going to use is Ash Blossom. Next card we're running is Pre-Preparation of Rites, probably a staple in most ritual decks. I know this isn't really a ritual deck, but it still works as it. So Pre-Preparation of Rites basically searches out the ritual spell and Vendread Slayer. So you're running 3 of that because you're going to be able to search it, which is really good. And it searches out this card, which is Vendread Origin. So the way Vendread Origin works is it can ritual summon a monster in hand or graveyard by banishing zombie monster from the graveyard whose total levels equal exact. And then it has an extra bonus of a defensive effect, which you can banish it and save a Vendread Slayer from on the field from destruction. Which is really good. The banish effect again works really, really well with the Solitaires or with the Shiranui support. The next we have Vendread Evolution, which is another ritual spell for the Vendreads. And what this card does is you can use this card can be used to ritual summon any Vendread ritual monster from your hand or graveyard. You must tribute monster from your hand, field, or send 1 Vendread monster from your deck to the graveyard. So you can gain a bit of extra effects, with all the Vendread cards that are in your deck. You can send them to the graveyard and then get their special summon effect and go off on different stuff like that as well. And you're also, that monster gets destroyed at the end phase, which is fine. Next we're running Foolish Burial just for a few different things, like this Shiranui stuff. If you know you have a card that banishes like this or any of the other cards, you get the Foolish Burial and get some basic effects off like that. Twin Twisters, just for back row. Monster Reborn, just because you're going to have stuff in the graveyard. Super Polymerization, which I will explain very soon. And then we have Burial from a Different Dimension. It's just kind of, if you do draw into it, it might give you extra effects because of all your banished stuff go back to the graveyard. You might have something else. And then the last card, I'd probably run 2 of, maybe get rid of something out of this. Shiranui style Swallow's Nest. Swallow's Nest. So basically what this does is like tribute a zombie type monster and then target 2 cards on the field and destroy them. And then banish the Shiranui once from your deck. So it gets an extra effect. So I would like to run 2, but I don't have 2 at the minute. But definitely probably a 2 of. I'm not sure what you take out as well. Maybe you can leave in the comments what you take out of these. Maybe a Twin Twister or something just to have an extra bit of spot removal or whatever. But yeah. So that's it for the main deck. Let's get straight into the extra deck. So like I said, we have this new card, which is a Vendread Savior, and the artwork is just wicked. As you can see there, it's just Vendread Slayer, but he's got ditched the yellow, and he has a new like darker blue look. So what he does is actually kind of cool. As well as getting the bonus of a defensive effect off the ritual spells, because his name becomes Vendread Slayer while it's on the field. You can use each of his effects once per turn. So he's 2 effects. You can target 1 Vendread card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So maybe if you want to do the ritual summon or something like that. And then during damage calculation, if the card battled opponent's monster quick effect, you can send 1 zombie type monster from your deck to the graveyard. That opponent's monster loses attack equal to the level of the monster sent to the graveyard. So times 200. So it's good to get your Vendreads from the deck to the grave because they get back added bonus and it kind of swarms the field a little bit, which is really good. The next one we're running is a Shiranui, Skill Saga Supremacy, which is a Link 3. It requires 2 zombie monsters. Synchro monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Fire monsters cannot be cannot be destroyed by battle. So if you have both, obviously they can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can tag on 1 banished zombie synchro monster, special summon it to a zone discard points to. You can only use effect Shiranui Skill Saga Supremacy once per turn. So a big thing is banishing Shiranui stuff from the graveyard because you get great bonuses off it as well. The next one running is Borrowed Dragons. Like I said, this deck is very easily able to swarm, and then it's kind of an OTK, so your opponent really can't get over it sometimes. So that's it for the Link monsters. We're going to go into the Synchro monsters next. So we have our smallest one, Shiranui Sword Saga. So the way I'd go into this would be a Uni-Zombie and Vendread Core, because Core can just special summon itself by banishing something else. And then you get... it's 1900 attack. You can only special summon Shiranui Sword Saga once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can tag 1 monster on the field and change its battle position. If this card is banished, you can special summon a Shiranui token to go in for your Link plays. Then we have Shiranui Samurai Saga, which is his effect is once per turn. During either player's turn, you can target a banished zombie type monster and shuffle it into the deck. And if you do change the defense position, all monsters your opponent controls will attack less than or equal to the monster. And they lose 500 attack. Or you can tag 1 face monster your opponent controls and lose 500 attack. So that's that one effect there. So it goes 5, 6, and then the 7 we have is Shiranui Squire Saga. So you can only special summon this card once per turn. And then it has the effect once per turn you can banish a face-up monster you control or in your graveyard, and then apply these effects in sequence depending on what the monster before banished. So if it's a zombie, fire, or synchro monster, it gains effects. So if it's a zombie monster, you can have all monsters you control gain 300 attack. If it's a fire, you can destroy your spell or trap card on the field. And if it's a synchro monster, you can destroy 1 monster on the field. So like if you have these 2 in the graveyard, you get serious benefits from Shiranui Squire Saga. And like we said, if from the Link monster, you can special summon them back very, very easily. The next one of the boss monsters is Shiranui Shogun Saga, which is the to level 8, and then if this card is special summoned, you can banish a zombie type monster from your graveyard. This card gains attack equal to the banished zombie monster original attack until the end of this turn. If this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect sent to the graveyard, you can target one of those banished zombie type monsters with 0 defense, return it to the graveyard. So not too bad. Like, so if you're banishing Squire Saga, this card becomes 5100, which is some crazy attack. And then the last Shiranui we have is Shiranui Sun Saga. And this one is, I think it's a level 10, is it? Yeah, it looks like a level 10. And if this card is special summoned, you can return any number of your zombie synchro type monsters that are banished in your graveyard to the extra deck, and then you can destroy cards your opponent controls equal to the number of cards returned. So it's not too bad if you go into some of these and banish some of them with Shogun Saga and Squire Saga. It's not too bad. And if a zombie type monster you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish one's a Shiranui monster from your graveyard instead. And it's got 3500 attack, which is a crazy beater. So that's it for the Shiranui stuff. The next card we run is one Black Rose Dragon for removal of the field. The one Burrow Load Savage Dragon to use with a Vendread Savior, a Vendread Savior and the Shiranui skill. Then we run the one Cyframe Lord Omega, because it can get itself out of the zone and helps with your banished stuff. You can put the banished stuff back in the graveyard, so it helps big time with this deck. That's it for the Synchro monsters. The next we're running 2 fusion monsters is one Starving Venom and one Dragon Necro Nether Soul Dragon. So this only requires 2 zombie type monsters. The other one requires 2 dark monsters on the field. So that's why you use your super polymerization. You can use your opponent's monsters if they have zombies. If they just have darks, you can use Starving Venom. And then the last XC we're running is Tornado Dragon, just because there's a lot of if you don't want to go for your synchro monsters, it's very easy to make level 8, so you could just easily go into Tornado Dragon with 2 level 4s. So that's it for the deck profile, guys. Please let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like I said, please check out my eBay, and give me a text or something. And thanks for watching, guys. Good luck.